Hey everyone, I am your Astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. This is your Astrology Horoscope for the new moon in Pisces, which happens on Saturday, March 13th, 2021 at 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time or 2:20 a.m. Pacific Time, depending upon which part of the country or really which part of the world that you're in, since I know I've got people who watch me from all over. Now, what I think this new moon is really all about is about a major karmic completion, a major completion of old karma, of an old cycle in life that has been really challenging for quite some time, and therefore the massive healing as well of that time too, that is going to allow us from here on out to be more open to better times in life and to receiving even more of our blessings that may have felt a little bit delayed over the course of the past few weeks and months. So that's what I'm going to talk more about in this video. If you want to hear about it, please stay tuned, because I'm going to hop into it now. In order to start talking about this new moon, though, for those of you who watch me regularly, you know I like to place it first on the chart just so that you can see it, what I'm referring to, and follow along with me. So I'm going to do that now. This video is for the new moon in Pisces. I want to locate that. Here's the moon in this chart, and it's in the sign of Pisces, where it is at the same exact degree as the sun is right here. And when you get the moon at the same exact degree in the same exact sign as the sun, as you see it here, that's what makes a new moon. What are new moons all about? Well, new moons are all about new beginnings and fresh starts. They start cycles. They start cycles that really last at least 4 weeks, super top of mind, until the next new moon happens, and many times 6 months to a year after, until the next full moon in the same sign, like the full moon in Pisces, and then the next new moon after that, which will be about next March. Okay, what is this new moon all about? This cycle, this new cycle, and this new beginning that's going on here, bringing in fresh energy at this new moon, Pisces. I now have to look at the sign of Pisces to give me more information about that. What is Pisces about? Pisces is a water sign. What are water signs? They're about our emotions, how we feel. So one thing that's going on at this time is that we are having a fresh start within our emotions to feel new emotions, feel new things, or feel things differently than we would have felt them before. What else is Pisces about? Well, Pisces is about the past. Why is it about the past? Because it's the last sign of the zodiac, the 12th sign. That's what this number is here for in the chart. It's the last sign of the zodiac before the whole zodiac starts all over again in Aries. Because it's the last sign of the zodiac, it's about the past. So another thing that's going on at this new moon is not only that we're feeling differently about ourselves in general and about our lives, but we're feeling very differently about our past and about what we've been through, especially too with the Pisces influence, so that we can let our past go, let it go, and move forward in the ways that it is that we need. What else is Pisces about? Well, Pisces, to me, is a sign of healing. Not so much healing of the body, that's more Virgo, which is the opposite sign of Pisces, but more so about the healing of the soul, the healing of the emotions, the healing of your psychology in some way. So another thing that's going on in this new moon is that we're getting new feelings about ourselves, about our lives, and about our past that is helping us to, yes, release the past and heal from it so that we can move forward. Okay, other things that Pisces has to do with is about our soul, understanding more about our soul. Again, the last sign of the zodiac is a wise one because it's been through a lot. It's about understanding more about our soul and what brings us peace so that we can find wholeness, find oneness within ourselves. So another thing that's going on at this new moon, just to continue adding all the interpretations together on top of each other, is that we're stepping into new feelings about ourselves, about our lives, and about our past. That's helping us to release a lot of old things that have been a challenge for us, heal, understand more about our soul, and now pursue more of what brings us peace, what brings us true peace, wholeness, and fulfillment in life from here on out. Another thing too, that I think this is the last thing I might mention about the sign of Pisces, is that Pisces is a lot about our spirit, our soul, or intuition. You know, Pisces, I wouldn't quite call Pisces a religious sign. That to me is more Sagittarius, but there is something about Pisces that is very spiritual in a lot of ways. So another thing that's going on here at this new moon is that Because I should note, because we are feeling differently about our lives and releasing a lot of old hard things and healing for them, there's another part of us at this new moon that is getting more in touch with God, spirit, soul, or our intuition, and kicking those things on more into gear, or becoming more open and accepting to those things, what our soul is telling us, so that we can honor that and move forward, creating more things in our life that are in tune with who we are moving forward. So that's another thing that's going on there. Just to repeat, even though I think the message has been clear so far, what is going on at this new moon in Pisces is that we are stepping into very new and different feelings about ourselves, our lives, and our past. That is helping us to overcome and release the past and to heal a lot of things. Because we are overcoming old things and healing them, we are then getting more understanding of what is in our soul and of what our soul needs, so that we can eventually find more peace and bring more things into our lives that will bring us peace. Not only are we starting to understand more of our soul as a result, and pursue more peace, but we're also being more open to spiritual downloads from God, spirit, source, a higher power, or our intuition. We're being more open to receiving those things and actually receiving those things in order to propel us onwards. Okay. And I do like it. I do tend to like this new moon. But before I move forward and tell you about a lot of those good things I do like about this new moon, I'm going to go back in time just to give you more of the context of how we got to this point and of why this is now a thing that has all of a sudden come up as a theme at this time. And to go back to give you that context, I'm going to go back to that last solar eclipse, because solar eclipses are big deals, which happened in the middle of last December. And that was a new moon solar eclipse right about here at the last degrees of Sagittarius. What was that about? Well, in my opinion, that was about us in December stepping into a major solar eclipse, new moon, blessed Sagittarius chapter of life. That's, I think, better than anything that we've been experiencing for the past 5, 10, 15, and possibly even 35 years, especially with the Saturn and Pluto stuff going on all last year. Okay, it was about finally new and better things happening in life without all that baggage. All right. But even though I do believe that was the case, that in December, new, better blessings, blessed chapters in life were coming in, I do feel like we had some problems fully embarking on these new blessings and bringing them more fully into our lives. I do think that some of those problems, I should note, especially around that new moon in Capricorn that we had after, was a lot of self-sabotage, us getting in the way of our own blessings, was a lot of us feeling like a victim when we're not, was also a lot of low self-esteem that we may have had. I should have noted that it also could have been a lot of addictions as well that we could have had to substance abuse and to other things as well that could have been a problem. And another thing that was also a problem, especially around that new moon in Aquarius last month with the Saturn square Uranus, was that we hadn't fully cut out these old things that were bringing us down, these old people, these old relationships, those old things. They were kind of out of our life, but they weren't fully out of our life in the way that they needed to be. And I do believe that over the course of the past few weeks, since that new moon in Aquarius to now, we have taken steps here to eradicate the problems stopping us from reaching our blessings. We have taken steps to overcome the self-sabotage, the feelings of victimization, the low self-esteem, the over-attachment to the old life, and the people and things that were still around that were no longer serving us. And because those things have now been worked through, overcome, dealt with, and fixed, now we get to this new moon in Pisces where we're feeling like finally the old can go. The old life, the old chapter in life that's persisted for many years and decades, possibly for some of us, if you're younger than 35 years old, your whole life, so that we can finally kick those old chapters in a very, very big way. And a lot of the trauma and the abuse and the problems that came with those, heal from them and move on, feeling more at peace, receiving very different, drastically different experiences that are better and blessed than what we have experienced prior to this point. Okay. And I think that's it. I think that's the context for this time period. Just to say it again, to bring everything together, what I think is going on here at this time is that we are finally releasing a lot of karma, a lot of hard things, hard emotions, hard experiences, and a lot of old baggage in a huge, big, massive way. We are releasing a lot of those old things that have been keeping us stuck from moving forward. Okay. And that have been keeping us stuck from receiving our blessings. And because we are releasing and healing, finally, a lot of these old things that have been preventing us from moving forward, now we're feeling more at peace within our soul. And now we're more open to start anew, to start life differently, working with life differently, doing things differently in a better and healthier and more uplifting way for us to move on. Okay. And I think that's it. I think that's the main point. It may sound kind of, maybe I'm saying it in a kind of casual way, but make no mistake, this is huge. This is a huge new moon. It's a huge new moon, releasing and healing finally in a real way, a lot of old things. I know over the course of the past few months, if you've been following my videos, I've been talking about this isn't really healing. It's self-sabotage. There's a lot of things. And this is real healing that occurs this month. Like finally, we're ready to fully heal. Finally, we're ready to wash the hands of the past and move on. And because of that, I want to note a lot of people this month are going to be set free. Their soul is going to be like set free from old bondage and old problems in really beautiful ways that I do like. Okay. One reason I should note why I especially see a lot of people feeling cleansed of the past is also because this new moon right here, you see it at 23 degrees Pisces, is conjunct Neptune. Okay. And which is 3 degrees away from the new moon. And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It's at home, in Pisces. And when the new moon conjuncts the ruler of the sign that it's in, to me, it superpowers that new moon to do more of the thing that it was meant to do, more of the thing to release old stuff, to heal and to move on. So I think that this is a super big deal, this new moon, cleansing old things, setting a lot of people free spiritually in their soul in order to move on pursuing other things. If there are other words that I could use just to maybe say some things differently that'll hit some of you differently, is that Neptune to me also has a lot to do with like cleansing old things, purging old things, releasing old things, and washing old things away. So whatever word works for you or stands out to you the most, they all apply. It's a lot of that is going on, and I think it's beautiful. This is like the cleansing rain after, a really hard struggle that I think is really beautiful, meant to move us forward. Okay. I like it. Where do I want to go next? Maybe what I'll do next, I'm going to come back to Neptune, but maybe before I do that, I also want to say another thing. This new moon here is also square the nodal axis. Okay, we've got the south node here at 14 degrees, which squares here Pisces. What does that make it? About like 8 degrees away, roughly. And then we've got the north node here, 14 degrees Gemini, squaring this as well. Okay, what are the nodes about? The nodes are about destiny. They're about our destiny. They're about our fate here, because there were eclipses happen. The nodes indicate the points where eclipses occur, and eclipses set us up on our destined path. And when planets square the nodes, like what this new moon is doing, it's at the bends. It's at the turns of fate, if you will. It's halfway in between fate and destiny. So what that means to me is that because now we are finally healing a lot of old things and releasing old things willingly. They're just falling off of us because we're willingly releasing old things and letting old things go. We're finding with the square to the nodes here that our lives are recalibrating themselves. Our lives are twisting and turning. And I don't know, twisting's not the word, because twisting sounds bad. This is not a bad thing. And I think this is happening quite nicely. We're finding that our lives are just the course, and we're finding that the entire course and the entire direction of our lives is now turning as a result of these old things going. That's what I want to say. And we're finding that the entire course of our lives is changing to set us up for different chapters in life that are more destined for us, that are a part of our destiny, that have been fated in some way, and that are a part of our purpose in order for us to move forward. Okay, so don't underestimate this little new moon in Pisces here, which is conjunct the ruler of Pisces and square the nodes. I mean, this is major completion point, so that we can move on. I know that new moons are about new beginnings, and full moons are supposed to be about completions, but this is a new moon in the last sign of the zodiac. So this is a major ending and beginning at once. This is a major ending of old things that helps us to major begin some things all at once that are allowing us to collapse timelines. You know, I did like the twist of fate, I keep thinking, and I think of twisting of fate of like collapsing timelines and dimensions and consolidating like things in our life in order to set us up on some other destined path of our future that's going to move us forward. And I just like it. I like it because I think we've been trying to get here for quite some time and working our ass off in order to do it. And now it's here, and now things are shifting. Old is leaving and new is coming, and things are working themselves out and propelling us forward towards fate and destiny and towards things that are meant to be in our lives from here on out. Okay. Because that's happening, I should note, I think we're feeling for the most part, I'll talk about some of the negative things in a minute, but I think we're feeling for the most part very good, because not only is this new moon conjunct the ruler of Pisces, which I feel fine about, and a major completion and healing point in some way, but it's also conjunct Venus as well. Okay, and I know I've kind of covered it up a little bit, but it's pretty close to it, right? I mean, they're all within 4 degrees of each other here. Neptune, the moon, the sun, Venus. Yeah, there we go. There's the moon here, 23 degrees. So I don't know, that's very close. That's close for me. That's a conjunction for me. Okay. And this is a very good thing as well. Why? Because Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. And when a planet's in a sign it's exalted in, it functions better than it does elsewhere, easier, more beautifully. Like all the highest aspects of the planet begin to shine. What is Venus about? Well, one of the things that Venus is about our own sense of self-worth, right? Like, and with Venus now exalted in Pisces, conjunct this new moon, we're getting a drastically different sense of self-worth that's making us feel more worthy of blessings, more worthy of new and better and different things coming into our lives, and more open to receive it. Like Venus is the feminine sign, right? Like men are from Mars, women are from Venus, making us more open to receive better things and to be open to them and to surrender to them, especially with the Pisces influence there. Okay, so I do like it, that the healing and the releasing of the old things finally to set us up for new destined fated chapters in life to come, perhaps suddenly and unexpectedly with some of the Aquarius stuff going on, is making us feel very good about ourselves and about who we are, and more solid in some way with that Venus influence, more confident as well. Not only is Venus about our sense of self-worth shifting for the better, but Venus is also about relationships, right? It's about relationships. It's about money. It's also about our time, our space, our resources, and even I'll throw in our habits in there as well. So what that also means to me is not only are we just feeling stronger as individuals because we don't have this baggage and junk from the past weighing on us physically or emotionally anymore. Not only are we feeling better, ready to restart things, move forward in a new, different, better way towards our purpose and our destiny, but we're also feeling much better about our relationships, our money, our time, our space, our resources, and our sense of self-worth. And like we can restart a lot of those things. And I don't know if restart is the word I want to use, but like we can start them anew. We can start new relationships or relationships in different ways, or using our money, our time, our space, our habits in much different ways that are going to be better and that are going to be easier for us and that are going to work with us instead of against us, that I do like. Okay, so this is a big thing going on here. Not just one part of our life shifting, not just a little bit of an emotional thing changing. This is things all across the board. Relationships, money, space, everything. It's everything shifting in your life to help you move forward. And it's things working. This is Venus exalted in Pisces, conjunct a new moon. This is things working, conjunct the ruler of Neptune, Venus in exaltation, conjunct the ruler of the sign it's exalted in. This is it working easily. This isn't working for us. This isn't us having to drag dead weight and say, oh, well, my relationships need to change and they're not changing and I got to put in all this work. And oh man, my money just sucks and it's going to take me forever in order to make things happen. And well, my time is just trapped and never going to happen. This is easy. This is easy. This is old going, old leaving, healing old stuff, ready for new, and things falling into place. People continuing to work in your favor, continuing to want to help you, and things shifting very, very smoothly and very, very easily in the ways that it is that you need. People still don't want to fight. Your time, your money, they're just... Things are working with you, in order to move forward, and I do like it. I like it a lot. And why are all these things working? Maybe that's what I should just clarify for a minute. Why are all these things working? Why are all of a sudden relationships on your working and money and time and space? They're working because no longer is this old emotional baggage bringing you down, right? Like it's really hard to have good relationships and it's really hard to have good routines. It's really hard to make money when you're constantly worried about old things or have a lot of emotional stuff weighing on you. It's like really hard to devote your time and attention. So all this stuff is fixing itself. Not per se on its own, but because of the work we've done in the past and because of the healing that's now coming to release the emotional baggage. Not only are these things fixing himself, just to give you the clarity on the why that it's happening, not only is everything working with you easily because the emotional weight is now gone and no longer creeping in on these things, but because I think too, over the course of the past month or so, if you've been watching my other videos like the full moon in Leo and the new moon in Aquarius, I also think that over the course of the past month or so as well, we have made firm decisions to cut people especially and things out of our lives officially that are not working for us, and to bring new people in, or to bring different people in as well, and different time and different money and different resources and different way of doing all those things. And because we have made the conscious, firm choices prior to this point to cut things out and bring things in that we need, now things are also working for us as well, because now we've got the right people in our lives, we've got the right things in our lives, and we've got the things that aren't right for us out. And there's a lot to be said for having the right people and things in your life and moving forward. So I think that's another message too, that all of this healing and shifting all across the board in positive ways of so many things in your life, out of old hard stuff and towards better stuff, sure, it's happening pretty naturally right now, but it's happening because we've done a lot of work in the past to release old baggage, old emotions, and to make hard decisions here to cut people out of our lives that aren't working for us, and to bring new people in, and to figure out where they go in our lives and new things in. And now it's working in order for us to move on. Okay, very good. Other things I should note that are very good about this new moon as well is that Mercury, I should note, Mercury is now out of post-retrograde shadow. It just ended it. I think this is the degree right around here, just ended that it started at, okay? And not only is this a good thing that Mercury is now out of its post-retrograde shadow period, which basically means that it's now come back to the same degree it went retrograde at a long time ago, but none of the planets are retrograde. None of the planets right now are retrograde now that Mercury is out of this post-retrograde shadow. Sure, maybe the nodes are, but the nodes actually go retrograde pretty often. The nodes are retrograde more often than they're direct. So they're a different thing, and the nodes move right. Their mean motion is backward, so the nodes aren't really important in that sense, but all the other planets are. And look at them, all the other planets are direct forward motion, and Mercury is now up to speed, starting to move fast. So what does this mean to me? No roadblocks, smooth sailing. Green light, green light. It's a green light to go. The past we're healing from. The past is falling away very easily, very quickly, and new things are falling into place very smoothly, also very easily, also working with you. Everything working with you, okay? Especially if you made some of the smart decisions prior to this point in order to get here, okay? And done some of the work in order to make some of this stuff happen. All right. Another thing too that I like as well is conversations being supportive, not only smooth sailing all across the board, but communication being very supportive as well, because Mercury is now up to speed in the way that it needs to be. And Mars, which is now in a Mercury ruled sign, Gemini, is making a sextile over here to Chiron and Aries. And if you want Chiron by any alignment, you want it by a sextile. So what that means to me is that not only are things just shifting within our soul and within our lives, just naturally as a result of the hard work that we've done to heal some old stuff and set us finally up for new, better, and blessed chapters, but that conversations are helping us to do this, and that conversations with ourselves, thoughts to ourselves or with other people, are helping to facilitate some of the healing, or helping to facilitate the releasing of the old, the setting up of the new, and the maneuvering of things together, and to move on. Conversations being very helpful and very key to facilitating all of this. I do like it. To facilitating the smoothness of it, and to helping pick up the pace. You know, I don't know, you know, I've been talking about the speed of things, how fast things are going in your life. You know, I feel like I kind of jumped the gun on how fast things were actually going to happen in some of my past videos, but if things don't pick up the speed a little bit when all planets are direct, I don't know when else they're going to do it. So because things are now starting to happen more smoothly and more easily, and people, time, resources are working with you, and conversations are very healing, a lot of things are going to start to move here faster with less effort, really, in order to make things happen. And we'll do so for about another month or two. Pluto's going to be the first planet to go retrograde. And when is it going to go retrograde? Sorry, I have it somewhere in my notes here. It's going to go retrograde on April 27th. So we've got now until about April 27th, where things are going to move at a faster, easier pace here. Things are going to work themselves out more naturally until then, and then the weeks after when more planets go retrograde. So to me, it's a good thing. Here we've also, I should note, got Saturn here in Aquarius making a sextile to Chiron and Aries. What is that about? Another good alignment. Aquarius is a lot about your future and what's next. So because we are seeing old things go by the wayside, literally fall off of us, old thing that used to bother us not even bothering us anymore, and because new, better things are falling into place, falling into our lap very easily and very smoothly and very quickly all across the board, relationships, money, time, space, in order to come together. And because conversations are very helpful in facilitating this shift, we're starting to see a better future. Aquarius here, and like new and better opportunities are arriving and can actually come into our lives from here on out in ways that are going to help us be different, do things differently, and move forward. And with this new moon also sextile Pluto here to help us experience massive changes in our life direction to transform all parts of our life deeply within our soul and externally to move forward. And I like it, you know. I like it. You know, sometimes it's harder to talk about astrological alignments when they're good, because there's really not too much to say other than like things are good, and a lot. It's not just one thing; it's a lot of things. Not just one thing; it's a lot of things that are good, and you know, there's that. Sometimes it's almost easier to explain things that are harder because there's more meat to kind of dissect and to dig your teeth into. So, you know, if it sounds like a bit of a light interpretation, it's because I think there's a lot of really good things going on here finally that we've been doing a lot of hard work for quite some time in order to get here. If there's anything challenging that I can say about this new moon, perhaps it might be the Neptune influence. I tend to think of Neptune as a good thing because it is the ruler of Pisces, where the new moon is, and Venus is now there, making this, to me, very shiny, very pretty, very shiny new moon. But I suppose Neptune doesn't always function great, especially because it is a little bit of a further out planet, which can be hard for the logical mind to grasp. So if I did have to mention a hard thing, I think that would be it. What can that bring? Neptune can bring a lot of confusion, I should say, like a haziness of things. It can also bring a bit of like emotions in some way, nostalgia, if you will, sadness, or possibly even some sleepiness that can occur as well. So what that means to me is that as like we're healing and releasing a lot of old things that have been hard for quite some time, many decades prior to this point, and receiving new things and seeing them work out pretty quickly, very easily, very smoothly on their own, with very good conversations to set us up for new futures, new opportunities on our destined path. As all that is happening, some of us, maybe not all of us, but definitely some of us could be feeling a little bit confused about what's going on, a little bit nostalgic here, and a little bit sad and a little bit triggered and tired over all of this. Why could that be the case? Well, some of us could be feeling confused because this shift is so different, right? Like to go from living out karma for many decades prior to this point, for some of us our entire lifetimes. And when I say karma, I mean bad karma. For us living out negative karmic experiences, trauma, abuse, to all of a sudden stepping into a time in which there's none of that, right? Or significantly less than that, with different things and different people that we actually like and that actually like us and that are actually nice to us. It can be a shock to the system. So, and it can be weird. Like, why is this happening to me? Why are people being nice to me now? Like, why are these things working out now? This is, confusing. It's not supposed to be confusing. Okay. It's supposed to be a good thing, but to the soul, it can be confusing because now things are different. So if I had to say something negative about this time, that would be it. Not that anything's going wrong here, just that our soul may still perceive that something is wrong or something is weird, confusing, that things are so drastically shifting and changing. Not only could there be just some weird emotions about that, but there can also too be some confusion about what we feel like we're creating because things are so different. Feel weird because I've never been in this different, better experience of my life before. And because I've never been in this different experience of my life before, and I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know, how do I do this thing? It could be a little bit weird. There can also be too some nostalgia about the past and some triggers, like sometimes in order to heal something, it needs to be triggered first, like you don't heal an emotion by ignoring the emotion, right? Like that's called avoidance. That's called emotional avoidance of the issue, which doesn't fix anything. So another point is that some of us may feel very emotionally triggered at this new moon, but we're feeling emotionally triggered here so that we can finally heal it in a healthier way and finally stick the nail in the coffin of these old things and move forward. Okay. So that to me is really the hard thing about this new moon. Not that anything bad is happening at all. It's just that old things are being re-triggered one more time, perhaps by our thoughts and emotions or by better experiences coming in to replace the old things so that they can finally be worked through and dealt with and released. And the confusion is coming too as we adjust moving forward. So, yeah, nothing bad is happening. It's just to say it again, for me, nothing bad is happening during this new moon. It's just that we may perceive that something is bad or that something is not right, which may confuse us because the experience is so different in our awareness, so starkly different from what we used to experience, which could then trigger us to confront one more time these last few things, a part of an old life that don't fit with the new narrative, so that they can all finally be released, so that the confusion can finally be released, the sadness can finally, the healing, and we can move forward. And I think it happens. You know, this to me isn't, I don't even want to mention the confusion and all of that, because to me, this isn't like getting trapped in that. Like, to me, this is the moving past it. To me, this is the triggering really been going on for quite some time. The triggering really been going on for quite some time here. And this is the new moon bringing the final trigger to help us heal the last few bits, or the healing just happening in order for us to move forward. And I just like it. I just like it. Lots of forward momentum at this time. Okay, and I think that's it. That's really all that I have to say about this time period. Are there any other notes that I want to mention? Yeah, there is a metaphor that I've been doing that lately that I wanted to give. I don't know if now is the right time, or if I should have given it like a little bit earlier while I was talking about Venus, but I have it now, so I'll give it to you. I think metaphors provide a different way of absorbing the information that might be helpful. The way that I've been seeing, and this metaphor is actually going to kind of backtrack a little bit. I don't know why I've been doing that, going back, maybe just to hopefully offer more context on what's been going on, because I do feel like the past 2 months have been kind of murky in some way. So I'll try to do that now. And the metaphor that I have is about, I actually have two, but they're the same. They're the same, just using different, experiences. And maybe it's the first one. Maybe the first one I'll give you is about hiring, is like being an employer of a company and hiring the right people for your team. It doesn't matter what company you work for. Let's just say that you're an employer, you work for some random company that does some important thing, and you have a team that you manage that you're trying to make successful, to be successful at your job, to help things come together. And the way that I feel, I should note, for most of last year, I'm going to go last year, the way that I felt for all of last year, and even for many years prior to last year, is that we have been the manager of this team that we work on, and we've had the wrong people on our team at work. And not only have we had the wrong people on our team, but we've had the people in the wrong places, doing the wrong roles on our team. And because for like most of our lives, for quite some time, we've had the wrong people on our team. And maybe for some of us, this has been resources, not the right money and all of that, and the money not being allocated to the right places. Things have been very hard and very challenging because the people that we have on our team aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, because they're not really trained for this type of work, and they're in their wrong roles. And I feel like what has happened over the course of the past few months, I would say, especially around that new moon in Aquarius, is that we realized that what the problem was with the team here was that. And not only that, part of that was the problem is that we had a team that wasn't functioning up to speed because we had the wrong people in the wrong places. But we realized that part of the problem is that we were afraid of firing some of those people, because sometimes that's necessary, and of hiring some of the other people, and then of retooling the people that we were going to keep into different positions, and retooling some of the money to reallocate them to different things. We realized that part of the problem is that we had a lot of fears around that and insecurities about that. Well, if I fire someone, what if they don't like me? What if it hurts? What if I can't hire a new person for my new team that's going to work? And I think over the course of the past few months, we overcame that fear, and we actually fired the people in our lives and on our team that needed to be fired. And we hired the new people that we needed to. And we actually started to train. I don't know if train is the word. Do I like it? after a solar eclipse in Sagittarius, yeah, I think that we've started to train the people on our team for what the job is now that they're in the right positions. And because that has happened, because we have now cleansed our team at this new moon, cleansed our team that we manage at work of the people who aren't right for it, and gotten new people in and put the new people in the right places and trained them, now things this month, of which this video is for, this lunar month, function more smoothly. Finally, for the first time in a long time, finally, we now have a team that we're the managers of, or the employers of here, that's doing what it's supposed to do, that's doing what it's supposed to do for once, and is actually being productive because the right people are there and the right resources and money and time has been allocated to the right places. Okay. I think it could feel very good that that's finally coming together. But to continue the analogy related to what I just said, we could also feel a little bit worried too. Like, what if something goes wrong here? What if something goes wrong here? Which could then trigger a lot of final old fears because things are so good to come up for healing in order to realize that we're fine. So I think that's one of the ways that one of the metaphors that I'm going to use to explain this time period is that we finally, over the course of the past few months, fix the problem with the team that we manage at work, which is a lot of fears about us hiring and firing people and retraining things. And because we fixed the fears and actually hired and fired the people and got them in the right places, now things just happen easily. Who would have thought? Things fall into place. Another way to think of it too, thought of like a football analogy as well. I think a thing, which is a less detailed analogy, a metaphor than the one I just described, but the way that I also see what's been going on in the past few weeks or so in the astrology has to do with like a football team. Like take, I guess any kind of sports team, but take for instance, like you have people usually on a sports team, but I'm using the football analogy, that are assigned different positions to play, right? So you've got like the people on offense, the quarterback, and then you've got the people on defense, like a linebacker. Well, what I think has been going on here is that maybe over the course of the past few months, we've had people that are supposed to play offense on defense and people that are supposed to play defense on offense. So we've got a linebacker playing a quarterback position, which is not working, obviously. We've got a quarterback playing playing a linebacker. We've got all these people in the wrong positions and the wrong roles. And not only do we have like all these people in the wrong positions and the wrong roles that they're not supposed to be in, but we're missing some people that we need, and we got to let some people go on the team, and we got to trade some players, so I think there's a lot of that. And I feel like over the course of the past month, we've done that. We've said, no, you are quarterback, you go here. No, you need to leave the team. And that's made all the difference. We no longer have, a bigger guy that's slower trying to play offense and a guy who's more spry trying to defend. So that's what's been going on. And because we fixed that, we got the right people in the right places. We've got people out of our lives that aren't meant to be there. We've got the right people in the right places. Things are working. Now that we've got friends who are supposed to, it's like we're changing that around. Getting people out of our lives that aren't supposed to be in it and working with what we've got, putting people in their proper place. You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be there. You're this person, and now that people in the right place, things function better. I do like it. Is there another way of expressing it? Yeah, another last thought, just to say it in this way, perhaps, is this. Because then maybe some of you are doubtful about the relationship piece coming together, so I think that's why I'm focusing on that. But the way that I see it is when you've got the wrong people in your life, and the wrong people in the wrong places, or the right people in the wrong places, then no matter how good you are at what you do and how good you are at life, it still feels wrong. If you've got the wrong people in the wrong places in your life, no matter how good you are, things feel bad because either the people screw things up, for you, your progress, because they're not where they're meant to be, or because you don't do things right because you don't have people in the places that you need, or because you don't feel fulfilled by what you do because it's not right there. But once once the people have been fixed and things are in their proper role, then things work out. So to take the converse of that and to juxtapose them together, when you have the wrong people in your life and in the wrong places, no matter how good you are, things still go wrong and things still feel bad. But when you have the right people in your life and in the right places, no matter how bad you are, no matter how much you screw up, no matter how much you mess things up, things are still good. Things are still okay, because the right people in your life are going to pick up your slack. They're going to pick up your slack. They're not going to misinterpret you. They're going to understand the intention behind what you do, and they're going to work with you. And I think that's kind of where we are right now. You know, we were trying to do the right thing for many months and years prior to this. It just wasn't working out because we had a lot of the wrong people and places and things in our lives. And now that we've gotten rid of those prior to this month, really, and bought new people in prior to this new moon, I think now it's easier for us to feel more in tune with our life, even if it feels just a little bit fuzzy, and we're moving forward. Okay. And I should note that doesn't just apply to relationships alone. Like, this can also apply to like money situations. You know, maybe some of you were making money in the wrong ways in the past that like wasn't truly meant for you, you know, doing the wrong things with money or going about money the wrong ways. And now that you've cut the old money source out and the old mindsets around money, now you're moving forward. So it can be related to that. You know, a lot of it too could be related to like your daily routines and your habits. You know, now that you're cutting an old daily routine out, or an old job or an old health habit out, now all of a sudden they get a lot easier and start to work with you and move forward. So this doesn't just relate to relationships. That those same analogies can relate to other things as well. But I did use relationships as the main focus here because this is a new moon conjunct Venus, which is the planet of relationships, because we are heading up to a full moon in Libra about relationships 2 weeks from now, which I'm also going to interpret very positively for people working with you, and drastically different, more healing ways to come together. So that's why I use those analogies, and that's why I like it. We finally have the right people in our lives, and we're starting to get them in the right places, you know, to help, and in the right perspective, and that's helping us move forward. Okay. And maybe I should just linger on that point too. The right places is important. I know I've mentioned like over the course of my past few videos, especially like the full moon in Leo and the new moon Aquarius, about making decisions to cut people out of our lives and bring things in. But it didn't quite emphasize that once you've got the people in your life that you want in, getting them in the right roles and in the right positions. Like, that's also a thing that I think we've been trying to do over the course of the past 2 weeks that we're still doing now, that's starting to come together. And by putting people in the right positions, I mean, you know, not making a friend that's a friend a lover, not making a lover a friend, not treating a parent like a kid like a parent, you know, we're also learning how to do that as well. And because we've cut people out, bought some people in, and are starting to get the people, the combination just right of where the people go in our lives and the time and the money, you know, now that we're clicking things into place, things are going to smooth themselves out in ways that we need moving forward. Okay. And I think that's it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the inside degree for this new moon, which I really liked. I want to read the inside degree for 24 degrees Pisces. I know this new moon is at 23 degrees like itself, but I don't feel like 23 degrees is really where we're at. Not that it won't resonate for some of you, but intuitively to me, we're beyond this. We're past this point. 24 is it. So I'll leave them both up, but I'm going to read 24. Okay. 24 says, inward explosions. The pressure valve goes off. That to me is another indicator here that this new moon is huge. It's not a little feeling different, a little bit of healing. It's huge healing that feels like an explosion inside our soul, where we wake up feeling even more like a different person, living a different experience. Okay. It says, you sit inside collective and ancestral frequencies of doubt, insecurity, and suppression until this can no longer be. The frenzied edge of new worlds, the ancient accumulation of old worlds. So what that means to me here is that this big shift that's going on here in our lives to heal old stuff in a very, very big way and feel very different may trigger, like I said, with the Neptune influence, old frequencies of doubt, insecurity, and suppression of your emotions. Okay. May trigger that. But even though this massive inward change may trigger these old things that have been keeping us stuck, we come to a point, I'm going to read onwards, we come to a point where the inward power overthrows these things, overthrows the doubt, the insecurity, the self-sabotage, the addictions, overthrows this stuff, any constraint, and finds something magnificent that has been untapped and forbidden so very long. What do I think we're finding that has been untapped and forbidden so very long? Feeling good about our lives. Feeling like we're at peace with our lives. Feeling like things are where they need to be, you know? It's a weird thing that we haven't felt that in a while, but I think that's going on here. And that's what is emerging. An inward massive restructuring of our emotional bodies and of our soul happens at this new moon to help us overcome old things that have been hard for us and step into something magnificent, something much better, even if that transition triggers us to deal with the final things before it moves us forward. Okay. It also says this: the final spark ignites, releases, and reveals. What was lost and forgotten is more here than ever, and not discouraged, never put down. So a few things that means to me, maybe I'll go with this last sentence. It means to me that what is lost and forgotten is more there than ever. When I think lost and forgotten, I think of our true soul that we had like as children. You know, I think sometimes when we're kids, we're more free to be ourselves, especially very little kids, and to express like who we truly are. Especially because the North Node is in Gemini, which is also a sign of like kind of childlike sign. So what I think is going on here is that because we are releasing this old baggage and stepping into something magnificent, something better, where we finally feel good, we're picking up that essence spark of our soul at its very core that we used to be when we were like kids. We're remembering that. We're remembering that like childlike essence of our soul and bringing that back, and not only just bringing it back and realizing it was never lost all along, that it's always been there, and that now it's encouraged. It's encouraged to come out and play. Like the childlike parts of ourselves are encouraged to have fun, which is a blessing, which is great at this time to help us move forward, even again, if it feels weird at first. Okay. The other thing too that this reminded me of as well is it says the final spark ignites, releases, and reveals. So because, and that reminded me of endings and beginnings, because we have now healed the old things, new beginnings are coming in a major way, or already have come, with relationships, money, and our own sense of self, and our habits and our resources, finally, in order for things to fall into place. So not only is this an ending, but it's a beginning. It's an ending and beginning at the same time, you know? It's an ending and a beginning all happening at once, especially because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Technically, the new beginnings start at Aries. 0 degree Aries is like the start of the zodiac, the new beginnings. But as we get to the last degree of Pisces, almost to Aries, right? Aries season is about to start, you start to make that shift towards the new. And the sun is going to be there not too long from now, like a week or so from now. And then Venus is going to be there at the same time around as the sun, making a conjunction to each other. So also, my last note that I want to make here is not only is this a releasing of things, but also be clear, endings come with beginnings, and endings and beginnings are coupled together. They happen like not always simultaneously. Like sometimes there is a little bit of a weird in between space that I think we've kind of been in, but they don't come too far after each other. They kind of come together. So beware of that. This isn't just an ending and a healing of old things. It's the coming together of something else. Because how can you really end something without something else, you know, kind of beginning? So beware of that. And because something is starting to begin, like there's some kind of, I like that, the final spark ignites. There's some kind of thing being born, you know, to help reveal a lot of things that have been hidden and to move us forward. That's another thought with the reveal. Like something about these words, the ignites, releases, and reveals, is like standing out to me. But the revealing part is maybe what I'll say before I look at your card. And what reveal just made me feel is that it's about our blessings. I feel like I've been talking about a lot of blessings coming into our lives since December of, a few months ago at that solar eclipse. And I feel like blessings have been coming into our lives, whether we see it or not since then. But now this new moon is like the big reveal of the blessings since that we've been trying to get to since December, or that really has always been here since December. So my parting thought here, seeing that phrase just made me think of it, is that this new moon in Pisces, because we are healing the old things and simultaneously beginning different things and seeing things come together and ignite in order to move forward. The blessings that we've been working towards since December that have been kind of hidden from us are now starting to reveal themselves more clearly in order for us to move on. We're starting to see more clearly our blessings and our path forward and what's next. Now, your card for this time period is the Hermit. The Hermit reversed. I kind of like this card reversed. When the Hermit's upright, to me, it indicates too much time spent alone, right? Like, who can't relate to that with COVID for the past year or so? So the Hermit upright to me is too much time spent alone. When the Hermit is reversed, it's too much time spent alone, too much time spent in introspection, where now it's become a burden. Being alone has become a burden. Soul searching has become a burden. And I see, because of that, with the Hermit reversed, we are releasing the feelings of isolation. We are releasing also at this new moon feelings of isolation and feelings of being separate from other people, separate from our souls, separate from society. We're releasing that. Like, Pisces is the sign of oneness, like universal oneness with ourselves, with other people, compassion, all of that. So I'm feeling some of that going on at this new moon, that we are releasing feelings of isolation and deep soul searching, dark nights of the soul. We're releasing all of that and realizing that our blessings were here all along. Our blessings were here all along, and that we still haven't missed them. They're still here. And that we're way more connected to the universe and to other people than it is that we thought. And maybe this isn't like a physical thing, because I know COVID's kind of a complicated thing to talk about at the moment. And I don't want to get into that. So maybe this isn't like a physical going out to be with people, but it definitely feels like, seeing this card, an emotional shift. We're emotionally shifting at this new moon to realize we're not alone. We're not alone. We have people now in our lives, or that are starting to come into our lives, that care, and that God and the universe has been on our side the whole time, and that. So there's a lot of that I'm trying to get at with this card. We're no longer feeling isolated from ourselves and from the world. Even if it's just an emotional shift, we're feeling more connected with the universe and with other people. And we're starting to see more of the reason, the rhyme and the reason for everything, why everything had to happen, and where everything's going as things start to come together. And we're using a lot of that wisdom and introspection from the past now to help us inform our plans moving forward and create things even stronger. The card at the bottom of the deck is the Emperor reversed, which are both major arcana, by the way, which to me is also a big deal, indicating big things going on at this time. And the Emperor, to me, when it's reversed, is about letting go of control, should I say, and like surrendering to things and not forcing things. So I think the last message that I'll leave you with here is that because we now have the right people in the right places and the right time and the right resources and the right habits starting to come together, now we just need to take our hands off and allow them to work themselves out. Now that we've got the people and the things in the right places, there's no need to continue forcing things. There's no need for that. All you need to do is realize that everything is interconnected here, that you're right where you need to be, and to take your hands off and to let people do what they're meant to do, to let them do what you've set them up to do, and to let these people and these time and these new habits that are coming into your life like choose themselves, and work themselves out. Like that's another thought. You know, I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video of getting people in the right places in your life, you know, being important. And I think that there's some of that's already been done, that we've already chosen, you know, who belongs what and where. But this to me also indicates that be open to impromptu changes, you know, be open to like riffing, if you will, is the word that's going to be open to impromptu changes in your lineup, so to speak. If you see that something's going to work better than what you've already arranged it to be, or if there's something or someone that is more meant for one thing instead of that thing that was a little bit off. Like that's the last message here too, is that yeah, I actually feel like this is, to me, almost feels bigger than the Hermit, but it's up to you and what resonates. But I feel like that's the last message here, is like, now that things are starting to get set in your life to set you up for new journeys, and now that you're starting to feel more connected to your soul, to life, to other people in healthier ways with a lot of your wisdom, just chill and stop trying to control, and allow things to work themselves out and to transform on their own, and to grow in the way that it is that they need to grow without being too stuck on how things should be. I don't think we're going to be that way. Venus is in Pisces, right? And Pisces is a mutable sign. Like, you know, let people change, let people take on the roles they want to take. But maybe some of you do need to hear that. You know, maybe there are still some more adjustments that some of you need to make. You know, maybe for some of you, there are still some more people you need to cut out of your life and more people you need to bring in. And maybe for some of you, you still don't have the right people in the right places, and the right time in the right places, and the right habits in the right place. Maybe some of you don't have that. And this card is saying, release the control over that, especially if something still feels a little bit off. Release the control, release some of the expectations, and let it work itself out, because it will work itself out. You know, I keep getting an image of a plant in my mind, like things will grow towards the sun. I don't know why, that's the phrase that just came to me. Maybe because, you know, the sun is obviously an important factor at this time with the conjunction to Venus and Neptune. You know, obviously the moon involved in this, and we are, let it, you know, things will grow towards the sun. Like if you, especially now, so if you release control over how these things continue to work themselves out, at least around this time for the next 2 to 4 weeks, then I think you're going to find that things are naturally going to have their place. Things are naturally going to choose what role they're playing in your life and how and where they need to go. And they're going to move towards the light and like better ways, you know, just like a plant. Like you don't tell a plant only grow this way, only grow this many flowers, you know, only grow this many fruit. Like it just grows. You soil, you put the plant in a healthy environment, good soil, you give it water, you put it near the sun, and then you let it do its thing. So that's also how I feel like is going on now. Like once you've got everything kind of set in a fairly decent good way, let it bloom, let it grow in the ways that it needs without kind of forcing it, because that was already kind of done. That was already kind of done in the months prior, and you'll find there that things are going to come together. So that's what I'll say. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like it, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you on the next one.